Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Today we're going to show you my water filtration system and how we made it, where we got everything, and definitely a cheaper alternative than buying one that's already pre-assembled. So we drink a lot of water. The cats drink water. We love our water. We have no issue using the tank that's in the camper. As long as it's sanitized 100% and it's clean, there's no issues. I don't know what the big deal is. People say, oh, you shouldn't do it, it's not good for you, blah, blah, blah. Well, it's like anything else. If you use something that's dirty, yeah, it's going to be nasty. But if you clean it, sanitize it, your plumbing, your hoses, your tank, there's no issues. So let me show you what we use and how we set up our water filtration system when we get into a campground, and hopefully it'll help you out and it'll take away some of that fear of using your freshwater tank for drinking. So the first thing we do when we get to a campground, depending on how the spigot's set up, this one here, just lift the handle up to turn on, pull it down to shut it off. I always lift the handle up first or turn the knob, whatever's there, see what kind of pressure I'm dealing with. Some campgrounds, the pressure's pretty weak. Others, it's very strong. We were at one campground. Pressure was 100 pounds, 100 psi. It was a crazy amount. So fortunately, the camp host gave us a heads up and said, you need a pressure regulator. So I'll turn the pressure on or the water on first, see what I'm dealing with. I'll shut it off. And before I hook up anything, I get one of those sanitary wipes, you know, those Lysol things you couldn't get during COVID. Well, I'll take one of those and I'll wipe the threads and here, and I'll go up underneath into the pipe and spin it around a few times, clean it out. Then I'll turn the water back on and I'll flush all that out. Why do I do that? A couple reasons. One is you don't know what's in there for bugs. You don't know if this thing was leaking a little bit and some critter was looking for some water and started licking everything. And most important is you get a weekend warrior that decides he's going to backflush his black tanks without a one-way valve. So it's not a good thing. You don't want to do that anyway. That's a no-no. You know, exercise some campground etiquette and do not use fresh drinking water spigot to clean out your tanks. Just don't do it. So once I clean all that out, I have this bullet filter. You can get those any big box store, Amazon, or whatever. So I have this connected to a 30 to 60 psi regulator. Definitely want a regulator. Now I put my filter fresh out of the spigot. I don't put it on the service end of the camper. Some people say it doesn't matter, but to me it does. I want to filter out as much crap as I can before it gets to my hose or before it gets to my 3-stage filter, and definitely before it gets into my camper and clogs up my screens. So this is only a 20 or 30 micron filter, so it's not going to do a whole lot. It'll filter out small boulders and chunks, rust or whatever. So I put it here before I can contaminate anything else in my system. Now if you notice this part here, you just screw it right on. There's no quick connect. Onto the three-stage part. I have a cheap plastic container I got from Lowe's. It works fine. You know, they're pretty much throwaway items. After a while they'll crack and fall apart. You can see that's coming apart already. They're pretty cheap. So I keep everything that I need in here. I have 3-stage filter, and because we're on the road 3, 4, 5 months, I'll have 3 spare filters so I can do a change. I usually change the filters every 3 months. So I have a couple bungee cords just to keep the top on. As you can see, the top is upside down. I'll show you why in a minute. So here's what I use. I have quick connects on the inside, quick connects on the outside. That's the water flow goes from this side to this side. And where it connects into the RV, I have quick connects also. You can get those in any big box store as well. They're fairly cheap. I do that just so it's quicker to set up and break down. You don't have to do that, but it's convenient. So what I have is a 10 micron, I have a 5 micron, and a 1 micron. So these filter out different size particles. The 1 micron will do little bacteria. It's not going to sanitize the water, none of these will, but it'll clean out enough where you can get pretty close to spring water coming out the other end. These canisters, this whole system you can get online, or you can go to Lowe's or Depot. It's a lot cheaper to do this than it is to buy the pre-assembled units you can get on Amazon. Those come with a nice stainless steel case or bracket to hold everything. They're like $350, $400. You don't need to spend that kind of money. And the other reason why I didn't do that is it's flashy, it's fancy looking, and it advertises, hey, look at me, I have money, rather than I advertise that. And these are half the price, and it does the same thing. So these canisters, they just unscrew right here, and you pull out the old filter, throw in a new one. I usually do it every 3 months. I'll replace all those. I have a couple of items I use. The kits will come with this wrench. You just slide that on this canister to loosen or tighten when you're going to do a filter change. You don't need to crank down on these things because there is a O-ring in the top here, and there's plenty to seal the water. Now this device is kind of handy. Before we leave a campground, if I know I'm going to be doing some dry camping, I will put this on the other end of the hose after it goes through the filter. And you turn on this gauge so you can monitor how many gallons of water you're putting in your holding tank, just so you don't overfill it. This is a handy little tool. So if you're going to dry dock or dry camp and you need water, definitely fill up your tank before you take off from the campground. And I always use the filtered water. And we also have a Brita, tabletop Brita unit in the camper, which we use. You don't need to, it's a little overkill, but the wife likes it, so that's what we do. So these hoses, we had the 0G hose. We had two 25-footers last year, and we lost both of them at one campground. We did have the pressure regulator on, so I'm not sure if the hoses were just bad. So we went to Walmart, got these good quality hoses specifically made for drinking water. They're 25 feet a piece, and the things work great. So spend the money, get some decent hoses. Don't get those fancy gimmick things because they don't work. Definitely make sure that the hoses are made for drinking water. On the other end of the camper, where it connects, we use disconnect again. Just easier, more convenient. We have this brass elbow, which has downward pressure this way rather than just going straight in. Just puts less stress on the connection. So that's what we use. So if you like drinking water, clean drinking water that is, don't be afraid to use your holding tank. Just filter it. Make sure you sanitize your system before you take off for the season. And at the end of the season, when you're done, what I usually do is I sanitize the hoses, make sure those are good and clean. I'll flush them out and store those before our next trip. The filter system, I'll just take the canisters off, I'll clean everything. The filters themselves, I'll throw them away and put new ones in so they're ready for the season. And I'll just go ahead and winterize my tanks. Just remember that you have to sanitize those tanks and flush them several times before the season starts. You don't want any surprises. Sanitize and flush the tank. You do all the plumbing, all the faucets, the shower, everything, toilet, flush everything. And there's absolutely no issue drinking water from the tanks. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate you guys. If you have any questions, leave them below and I'll try to do my best to answer them. Maybe we'll see you on the road. Happy camping.